Terry Coleth. I'm here today with someone you know very well, Christy Skinner. But how well do you know Christy Skinner? We're going to find out because she's going to do a coffee with a neighbor in the Academy of Lifelong Learning. Get to know a Shell Point Senior Director. Thanks for joining me, Christy.
You bet.
I love watching you on TV. And one of the things I love the most about your presentations, CJ Galada's, Michelle Tompkins, is you're telling us that it's never too late to do the right thing for ourselves.
Absolutely.
That is so exciting. I mean, people in our generation didn't always get that message.
I think that prior to the way that society's changed on their view of aging, 20, 30 years ago, where it's just natural to get older and not take care of yourself, nowadays it's the exact opposite. It's how much can I do to be proactive about my health, to be preventative in my health, and really live the best years and live health span. That's the new terminology that it is.
Sure.
And so it's not just lifespan, it's health span. And how can we, as Shell Point, take the best care of our residents and being proactive in their health and their wellness. So we have an amazing campus to be able to support that, and it's fun to be able to give information.
It is, and I often think about what are the factors that led to this big change. I can remember when people in their 70s were told, you don't need a new hip or a new knee, you're too old. I mean, being told things like that, having that mentality as you were getting older must have been horrid. And now you think, okay, if you just put a little effort in, and the effort is also in getting the knowledge, isn't it?
It is. I think it's a combination of so many things. You've got people that are living longer due to education, innovation, research, connectivity. I think about when I was little, and the way that we got information was to go to the library and use the card catalog to find information.
Encyclopedia.
And now my kids can get on Google and look up anything and everything instantaneously. And so I think that the resources that are out there for seniors to really be advocates for their own health are abundant, and so they can really sustain a life and a health and wellness initiative for their own well-being that is just leaps and bounds from what my grandparents were ever able to do for themselves.
And we live in a community, we live and work in a community that gives us options to do that holistically, to not compartmentalize ourselves, but to look at the dimensions of wellness and think, what can I do emotionally, spiritually, physically, and feel the benefits all together and a richer life? How exciting is that?
It's tremendously exciting for me. I've been in this field for 20 years, and I've always worked in standalone independence or independent living, assisted living, and memory care, but in a standalone setting. So to come to a CCRC campus that has the connectivity that we do and has all the different pathways that a resident can choose to be involved and engaged in their own health and wellness as much as they want to be is very exciting. And so to be a part of that and to help support and sustain that and bring more resources to a Shell Point resident is just thrilling. And I feel very honored to be a piece of what makes this big wheel turn.
That's wonderful. And well, you say 20 years. I assume you're older than 20, although you don't look much older than 20. So what did you do before this 20-year span in healthcare?
So I was very blessed. I went right after I graduated from college, and actually during college, I worked in healthcare. I worked actually with developmentally disabled adults. And so my interest was always to care for others. My path didn't start off that way, but my path soon turned that way when I realized that I had a caring heart. I come from a long history of doctors and nurses in my family. And so I think it was just that innate want and desire to care for others. And then my grandmother turned ill, and she went into senior housing. And I just saw what an opportunity there was to get into this field early on when it was really still developing in a lot of ways. And so I was able to work in senior living while I was still in college. And then right when I graduated, I started running and operating senior living communities. So this has truly been what I've done my entire professional side of my career postgraduate is work in senior living, care for seniors, and the different aspects of the continuity of care. And I've seen a lot of changes, largely for the good of the span of what we can provide to the elderly and the aging population. And it's changing, though, and it's people are desiring us to really focus on health, wellness, and prevention.
Absolutely. And we come into a continuing care retirement community full of the excitement of all the activities that are open to us now. Our home has just gotten gigantic. Our community has gotten more personal. There's so much to do, but we know in the back of our minds that healthcare is really, really important. And that becomes more and more a question, a concern. The older we get, maybe the first brush we have with something, a little illness, it must feel good to be a part of helping people through those transitions.
It is very rewarding. I don't think that anybody that works in healthcare doesn't feel fulfilled at the end of the day when they go home. Right. And I think what we're really trying to do when we sit in the role of healthcare support, any one of us, including myself, is how do we get people comfortable with the idea of what that looks like, and letting them know that healthcare touches them when they're independent, allowing them to understand that relationship starts when they're feeling really good. Absolutely. And can follow them as they change and as their needs change and their conditions change, because that's really why they chose to be here. In the back of their mind, they had to know that they wanted that peace of mind as they age in place. Sure. And so we want to start that partnership and that relationship while they're still playing golf, and while they're still playing pickleball, and while they're still swimming at the aquatic center, and then follow them as they navigate through the continuity and all the way through the end of their life. I mean, that's a fortunate privilege that we have. And we're very, very humbled by that every day, to be able to have that partnership with our residents here at Shell Point.
Well, we're all looking forward to hearing some of your plans for us, and some of your hopes, and some of your dreams for how you're going to get us through those next stages.
Well, thank you. And I look forward to hopefully having a good audience and a good crowd. And it's just an honor that you invited me to join the Academy to be able to do that. That's very nice of you to feel like people want to hear what we have to say.
Absolutely. All right, I hope you take every opportunity on July 26th to come to Coffee with a Neighbor with Christy Skinner to hear more about Christy and what she has in store for our future.